As I mentioned in the introduction video, I already completed one of the challenges by that point, and also by the time I was writing the script, I finished another challenge. So I'm killing two birds with one stone in this video. The first challenge was to watch a Ghibli Founders anime, which includes any works directed by either Isao Takahata, Toshio Suzuki, or Hayao Miyazaki. My pick was Miyazaki because he directed Sherlock Hound, among other things. Now, if you don't know what Sherlock Hound is, it's essentially a kids' show, very loosely adapted from the original Sherlock Holmes stories. And as the name suggests, this is an anthropomorphic world where everyone is a dog. It was a pretty decently popular show, at least over here in Finland. Now, the entry that I have is not the actual show. I watched the actual show last year for the previous year's anime watching challenge. What I watched this year was actually the so-called pilot episode, or what I would call the pilot episode. I guess it's technically a film considered by them, but I don't really think it's a film at all. It's essentially the same episodes as 5 and 9 in the actual show. The only minor differences are that Sherlock has a different voice actor. I suppose they just kind of decided to switch that when the actual show came out. And also, the audio quality was quite degraded at this point. I don't know if it's because of the files that I had or what, but it sounded pretty bad. Now, I'm not gonna sit here criticizing a kid's show for having a repetitive plot or anything like that. That's pretty standard, but that's kind of what it comes down to in this case. Every episode follows the same progression of Moriarty and his gang, planning something bad, with Holmes and Watson sort of hearing about it through different methods, sometimes directly, sometimes indirectly. And then they just stop them in perfect fashion all the time while the policeman Lestrade is useless. That's about all I'm gonna say about it. If you want an actual home story, I'd say, stay away from this unless you watched this as a kid and you just want some nostalgia. The second challenge was to watch an anime-ism anime. Anime-ism being a late night program block on Japanese TV channel MBS. My pick this time around was Love Lab. Love Lab at its core is a slapstick comedy. I mean, they quite literally use slapsticks in the show as well. It follows the story of prim and proper student council president Maki and what the students call the wild one, Riko. The two, who the entire school idolizes for different reasons, meet coincidentally and start what they call love research. And what ensues is a bunch of over-the-top misunderstandings that shake up the whole school. Now, I personally am not a big fan of the constant misunderstandings trope in comedy. I feel this could have really been something if they toned that aspect down a little bit. The more real moments of conflict are what really made the comedy worthwhile, but unfortunately at times they were not realized to completion. The emotional contrast did not make me feel much at all. But I suppose what we are here for is the comedy alone, which I can admit made me laugh more than a few times due to the sheer ridiculousness of the gags. The multitudes of examples of what they think is romantic can be quite absurd. Now, there is a joke that I kind of wanted to talk about specifically that I thought was a bit weird. It happened in episode 8. I suppose what they were trying to imitate was the Japanese gun guro culture, but they kind of did it in a fashion where they did blackface, I think. I mean, it looks like it. I can show a little bit of it on this video. What they were trying to do is to quote-unquote become a soul singer. It just felt a bit weird and left me thinking, like, what were they going for with this? But it's not that big of a deal to me. It's a bit weird, yes, but that's all. On a bit of an unexpected note though, what really surprised me in this show were the genuinely great animation cuts in mostly episode 1. They put most of their budget into that episode, it feels like. A show like this could have easily just picked the lazy route, but episode 1 had so many lengthy perspective shots and, background characters were constantly moving even though, it's not really necessary to make them do that. It's just something to appreciate if you are into animation. And production-wise, there were no recaps or anything like that, no bullshit opening cards. It just kept the show rolling constantly, went full steam ahead, and I can kind of appreciate that. We don't need any of that bullshit promotional stuff. All in all, TLDR, it's a comedy that uses cliches a whole lot, but some things you can quote-unquote turn your brain off to if you so please. That's all for me, so see y'all in the next video.